I'm Bill Landis with the Northeast Ohio Media Group, joined by the Solon-Comets football team. To my left, we have Coach Jim McQuaide, offensive and defensive lineman Joe-Rinicella, and linebacker and newly minted offensive lineman john-sensibaugh down on the end. Coach, we'll start with you. Coming off a 6-5 season last year, you guys make the playoffs again. What's the mood been like for the team over the last few months as you prepare for the 2014 season?
Well, we went to the playoffs last year, but we had some games where we didn't play very tough, hard-nosed football. A lot of that was due to the teams we played, very good teams. But I think we've concentrated all off-season since January of playing the game the right way and playing tough and hard-nosed football, which Solon has been known for years. And that's our goal, to expand on some of that success we had last year going into this year.
And I wanted to ask you about the quarterback situation. You have two talented players there, Ryan Gallagher and Matt Lobsher. We saw a lot of each of them last season, and they have plenty of experience. How do you kind of work with that dynamic when you have two guys who are capable of winning football games for you?
Well, they both have been good players in the past. They played actually 2 years as sophomores and juniors. The strength of our program, I think, is that they can help us be successful. And we also have a junior, Johnny Mooney, and some sophomores that are breathing down their neck also to play. And I think that's when you have a good team, when you have guys in multiple classes that are competing to play. And that will just make Ryan and Matt better players this year.
Joe, staying on the offensive side of the ball, you're a guard on the offensive line. How has that unit looked in the offseason, and what do you expect from that group this year?
Well, I mean, we lost 4 seniors last year, and, I mean, we're still looking all right. Me, Nate Westridge coming up sophomore, Ben Peterson, Brandon Houghton, and Andy Pix, also a junior. I mean, we're looking better than I thought. We're going to surprise some people on the O-line.
All right, and John, on the defensive side of the ball, you're obviously a linebacker. How does that side look?
Well, it looks good and promising. We have a lot of people returning, so that's good. And with the players that do have to fill in spots, we're pretty confident in what they can do.
Joe, Solon has a strong football tradition, a long history of making it to the playoffs. And I know it's early at this point, but does this team have the look in your eyes of a team that can make a deep run in the postseason?
Well, we're definitely a team that can win games, and we're going to give some people a run for their money.
John, Joe touched on some of his guys on the offensive line, and we talked about the quarterbacks as well. Who are some other players on this team that we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, you should be keeping an eye on Tyree Seals. He's going to be a DN. He's also moving to line this year with a small depth, but he's going to help us out at tackle when we need it. Look for Melvin Jackson, Gil Barkshow. They'll be our running backs and sometimes lining up at slot. You also have some sophomores coming in, like Jake McCurry, who will be playing both wide receiver and safety at times. And you probably should look for, again, some more sophomores and some juniors like Zach Lesko, who will be playing linebacker and wide receiver.
Coach, it sounds like you're going to be working in some younger players, and John touched on maybe some depth issues. Can you talk about that a bit and how big of an issue depth is for you guys and the new guys you're working in?
Well, I think the depth, we always encounter depth issues in the offensive and defensive line. We never been really big teams, but we have guys that can run and are aggressive, and that's why we kind of have juniors playing, sophomores playing. It's a good mix of guys. I think we have a lot of guys in all 3 classes. If we can get all 3 classes to come together and work together, we can have a successful season. We can't do it with just one class, and I think that was good that those guys touched on that. They mentioned juniors, they mentioned sophomores. We have seniors that are stepping up to play for the first time, and that should help us also.
In your preseason sort of prospectus on the team, you mentioned wide receiver, defensive back, and offensive line as areas that you're going to need some fast improvement. At this point in the offseason, which of those 3 groups have you seen the most improvement in?
Well, I think the receivers have really done a good job this year, and this is the time for them to do that because it's all 7-on-7 and throwing. Offensive line, we're not going to know that until we actually have equipment on, and then we go to St. Ignatius and practice with them. We scrimmage Warren Harding, North Ridgeville. We'll know pretty good how our line is after August 22nd when we're done with those 3 schools.
And Joe, we'll finish off with you. Obviously, a tough schedule again, playing in the NOC. Is there one game that you look forward to this season? I know they're all important to achieve your goal, but is there one game that you guys have circled on the calendar?
Well, definitely the Hudson game late in the season. I mean, we did not play them tough last year. Now they're coming to play us at home. It's going to be a tough game.
And we look forward to some exciting football in the NOC and great stuff out of you guys this year. Coach Jim McQuaide, Joe-Rinicella, John-Sensibaugh, thanks so much for joining me. And be sure to keep it tuned in to cleveland.com throughout the 2014 football season.